There are a staggering number of weapons to obtain in Dark Souls 3, and while some are little more than inventory clutter, others are powerful tools. Some weapons are so powerful in fact that they can carry gamers through the majority of the game and well into New Game Plus, so today on Gamerant, let's look at 10 weapons that make Dark Souls 3 too easy and how to obtain them. First off, we have the Murakumo. Players who want to make a dex build will love using the Murakumo. Sure, the base variant of this weapon may not scale all that well with dex, but that's precisely why this sharp infusion exists. The weapon's weight isn't as high as most other dex weapons, meaning that a player's equip load also becomes manageable with this weapon. This weapon is dropped by Dark Spirit Alva, Seeker of the Spurn. Next up, we have the Irithyll Straight Sword. The Irithyll Straight Sword is a unique straight sword that comes with built-in frostbite damage. The weapon is excellent for low-level players due to its high base damage and added frostbite effect. At higher levels, the weapon provides a fair bit of utility thanks to its long reach. The Irithyll Straight Sword has the potential to carry players through the majority of the game's areas and is effective against a number of opponents. Players can get this sword by killing the Outrider Knight in the Undead Settlement zone. It will be at the bottom of the elevator shaft where Sigurd of Katarina can be found just before the Road of Sacrifices. After that, we have the Onikiri and the Ubidachi. Many weapons can be dual-wielded to great effect, with a notable example being the Onikiri and Ubidachi. These katanas require near perfect technique to wield, but in the hands of an expert, this weapon can destroy most enemies with a few hits. They are dropped by Blackhand Kumai in the Grand Archives. Following that, we have the Astora Greatsword. The Astora Greatsword is a very light weapon with minimal requirements to wield, making it a useful weapon for many builds right away, though it thrives with dexterity builds. Because of these low requirements, it's also one of the best weapons in the game to use infusions on. To get this weapon, players should go to the Cathedral of the Deep and explore the graveyard outside the Cleansing Chapel. It'll be on a corpse found there. The Astora Greatsword can stagger and stunlock many foes, even with light attacks that manifest as wide horizontal slashes. Following that, we have the Murky Hand Scythe. One of the best Dark Souls 3 weapons from the DLC that became infamous in PvP circles is the Murky Hand Scythe. There's a reason why so many people fear this weapon, as it's one of the best weapons in Dark Souls 3 because it's a nightmare to deal with both in PvP and PvP. The Murky Hand Scythe is looted from a corpse in the Dreg Heap. Next up, we have the Exile Greatsword. The Exile Greatsword deals the most damage of any curved greatsword, though it does come with a cost of abysmal range. In the right hands, with the right build, it can carve enemies quickly thanks to its Spin Slash skill. Spin Slash slices in a circle around the player before transitioning into a strong attack. This weapon is obtained in the late, early to mid-game at Fair and Keep. It's held by one of the Exile Watchdogs standing guard outside the ruins. Next up, we have the Sellsword Twin Blades. Surprisingly, the weapon that fans consider the most game-changing is the Sellsword Twin Blades. These dual-wielded scimitars are powerful in the hands of a dexterity build, especially when given a sharp infusion. In no time, these swords will quickly cut through the toughest bosses like butter. They do require the player to dodge effectively though, as they don't possess the ability to block. If players start as a mercenary, then they will get these weapons as their default. If players pick another class, the earliest they can be obtained is in the swamp behind the Black Knight at the Road of Sacrifices. Following that, we have the Farron Greatsword. The Farron Greatsword is a unique Ultra Greatsword with an elaborate wide-arcing attack animation. The weapon is found early on in the game and is excellent for quality or dexterity-focused builds. Fans of the Abyss Watchers will find the weapon a must-have along with the Abyss Watcher armor set. The weapon performs the best in PvP competitions. It can be acquired after defeating the Abyss Watchers and transposing the soul of the blood of the wolf. Following that, we have the Dragon Slayer Great Axe, which is one of the hardest hitting weapons in the game. Players who invest in strength will be in shock and awe at just how powerful the Dragon Slayer Great Axe really is. Not only does this weapon hit like a truck, but its weapon art is also one of the strongest in the game if players time it right. This Great Axe absolutely wallops enemies to Kingdom Come and can be obtained by transposing the soul of the Dragon Slayer armor. Finally, we have the Pontiff Knight Curved Sword. Dark Souls 3 features many weapons that are a blast to use, but one particular blade that has captured the hearts and minds of fans alike is the Pontiff Knight Curved Sword. This frosty blade features one of the best and trickiest movesets in the game, which players will love getting used to until they can decimate most enemies with ease. This weapon is dropped by the Pontiff Knights in Irithyll. Alternatively, it can be bought from Grey Rat after he's done with his first outing. So those are our picks for 10 weapons in Dark Souls 3 that make the game very easy. So we hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.